It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, you want to rock and roll?
Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Caden Reif, and welcome back. It's the 2007 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. We're here from Calder. We're down under. For the oval race of the first half of this doubleheader, it is the Samsung 600K as we take you to this semi-intermediate high bank oval here in Australia for race number 6 out of 36 in the 2007 season. Take you to the racetrack for your starting lineup in tonight's race as we get under the lights here today. Robbie Gordon in the 31 car on a Sunday night is your pole winner, and starting alongside him on the front row is Greg Biffle's number 16. Tony Stewart in the 42, he's going to be in the 3rd position, and John Andretti will start in 4th. Casey Kane rounds out the top 5 in the 12, joined by Clint Boyer's number 4 in 6th place. 7th belongs to Jason Leffler, and 8th will be Kyle Busch in the 43. Carl Edwards starts in 9th, 10th belongs to Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. Jeff Gordon starts in 11th, and Casey Atwood will be in P number 12. Ryan Newman in the 13th place in that 38, and 14th, Scott Riggs in the 57. Jimmy Johnson starts P15, and Todd Bodine's number 77 will be in the 16th position. 17th belongs to Bobby Labonte, and 18th place will be Elliott Sadler. Brian Vickers in P19. P20 will be Kurt Busch. Eric Norris, P21, and Jeff Burton in the 22nd position. Morgan Shepherd will be in 23rd, and last week's winner, a commanding victory for DJ Kennington, he starts 24th. Brad Keselowski, P25, joined by fellow rookie David Rudiman in 26th. 27th goes to Kevin Harvick, and Jeremy Mayfield will be in the 28th position. 29th, Martin Truex Jr., and Ricky Hendrick will be in P number 30. 31st goes to Juan Pablo Montoya, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be in the 32nd position. J.J. Yaley, P33, Jamie McMurray will be in the 34th spot. Scott Wimmer, P35, and Mike McLaughlin in 36th. 37th goes to Marcos Ambrose. Casey Mears will start in 38th. Ashton Lewis Jr., he's in the 06 for no fear this week. He's 39th. And Ryan McGlynn in the 40th spot. 41st, Jacques Villeneuve in the 49. And rounding out the field in the final row is Jack Sprague's number 78 for Furniture Row Racing. And tell you what, I forgot to pause the race there, but nonetheless, take you to the racetrack for the most famous words in motorsports in just a moment here. The Command here from Calder in just a moment. Take you to intermission to skip this delay here. All right, apologies for the technical issues there, but nonetheless, the Command here from Calder. It's a Samsung 600K here on ESPN.
Drivers, start your engines.
Field roars to life as we get set to roll. Robbie Gordon and Greg Biffle, the front row here tonight. 100-lapper here from Calder Park as we get set on the oval race. First of two at this racetrack. Second one will be on the outfield road course, but all that yet to come. Here at this racetrack, a track very similar to Rockingham. We see high banks. It's a short track, a little bit of a longer racetrack than Rockingham, a lot narrower as well. But tires, very important. This racing surface, very old. In fact, the oldest in the entirety of NASCAR. It's been since the 80s that this track, I believe, was last repaved. It is a very old racing surface. The drivers love it, but it's a challenge for sure.
A very old racetrack, but one that allows the drivers to kind of slide around and figure out where their car works best. So if you're these guys, you want to try to keep it a controlled slide because, you know, the more you wear your tires out over a long run, the further you're going to slip through the order. But having the track position is going to be important, but managing your stuff is going to be even more important. And it's evident with Robbie Gordon being on pole for this race, the defending champion. A lot of experience up here at the front of the field as we get green.
Coming back to the start of this race here in the restart box. Green flag flies. Gordon and Biffle off to turn number 1, and we are underway here in Australia. Biffle and Gordon side by side for the lead off of turn number 4. Number 31 has the advantage on the bottom, takes Tony Stewart with him. Top 2 clear now. Clint Boyer's number 4 trying to slot into 3rd as we are underway. Everybody clean on the first lap. It's always tight off at turn number 2 at this racetrack. It flattens out on you so quick. Everybody's kept it straight to start, in contrast to the Busch race on Saturday, but everybody underway cleanly. And we see these guys settle in for a long haul. A lot of laps at this racetrack, but a very quick lap. Very high average speed at a track so short. Though again, we mentioned this track, a little bit of a longer lap than Rockingham, though these two racetracks are very, very similar. And we see a lot of veterans up front, couple of rookies, but experience prevailing to start this race as we got a couple of Cup champions up in 1st and 2nd place.
Cup champions in 1st and 2nd, and a championship contender back in
Caution
4th. Oh,
is out. Ryan McGlynn up on top of the wall. Caution comes out on lap number 3. Talked about keeping it clean to start. Damage to McLaughlin's number 26, and that 07 of Ryan McGlynn appearing to have climbed the wall. This was a wreck a long, long way back involving the rookie Casey Mears. I believe he got into McLaughlin to start this accident off of turn 2. And it looks like McLaughlin got the wall, and Mears and... My goodness, what a hit for Ryan McGlynn.
As that car rolls several times. That is a major hit on the driver's side, a horrible impact.
Goodness me, I believe there was contact further up the road as well. Saw a couple of cars get the wall, and that was the 28 car of Martin Truex Jr. further up the road who got the fence. Actually, no, excuse me, that would be Morgan Shepherd's number 89, got the wall in front of the 8. Man, a lot of contact back there. Truex with some hefty damage to the right side of his race car after slapping the wall, but my goodness, what an accident for Ryan McGlynn on lap number 3, flipping wildly on the backstretch.
Yeah, I mean, there was... Oh, my gosh. I mean, there was nothing he could do. The 55 had straightened out into him. There was no way for him to be able to slow down, and it just absolutely slams the inside wall with about as much force as you're going to get at this racetrack, and a horrible angle and a horrible accident on the back straightaway. We hope he's okay.
Mixed pit stops under yellow flag. Couple of drivers, I believe, stayed out. At the very least, Ryan Newman taking fuel only. And do believe he remained on the racetrack, was the only driver to do so. So the 38 car has the lead here at Calder Park. Take an intermission, give you an update on Ryan McGlynn as soon as we can. Number 38 car of Ryan Newman for Robert Yates Racing, leading this race early. Back from intermission here at Calder Park as we get set to go green. Ryan Newman's number 38 car, the only car to have stayed out. He's got first. Robbie Gordon will start in second. Greg Biffle, the third place car. Tony Stewart in fourth. And Clint Boyer off to a good start tonight. He sits in P number 5. Saw some mixed pit stops under that yellow flag. Most drivers taking fuel only. A couple of cars taking some damage repairs. Of course, a 26, 28, and 89 all involved in accident. Mears and McGlynn out of the race. Tough crash for that 07. Best prayers go to him after a heavy accident on just lap number 3. And Ryan Newman going to continue to soldier on. He leads the field to the green. This time by, I believe there is pretty much nobody other than the damaged cars that had any lengthy pit stops. So it was mostly fuel only. But nonetheless, Newman bringing the field to the restart box. Lap number 8, and we are back underway. Tony Stewart going to try to look to the outside for third on Biffle. To no avail to start as we take turn number 1.
Newman gets away a little bit here out of turn 2. Robbie Gordon trying to follow in his tire tracks with the 38. Gets away well. Who has had a bit of a rough start to the season. Not what he would have expected so far. But bit of a confidence booster to be up here leading this race, but we'll see how much longer that lasts because the 31 has reeled him in back to the back bumper.
Biffle still in the tire tracks in third. These three have broken away. It's a battle for fourth between Clint Boyer and Jason Leffler. As these two getting very close. Boyer tried to clear in front of Leffler, got a little loose. Spooked him back up the hill. 00 moves into P4. Stewart trying to retake a top 5 spot, and caution's out again. And we got a big wreck on the front stretch here involving Kevin Harvick, points leader Kurt Busch, and Jimmy Johnson.
Harvick seems to be the worst for wear for that one. Significant damage to his car. Kurt's in the pits. Jimmy didn't look like he got off too badly, but the 20 is absolutely killed.
Leaders bring it back to the yellow flag as Newman holds the lead. So we're under caution for the second time in quick succession. Multi-car collection on the front stretch here. Looks like it was between Harvick and Sadler's number 83. Here's Harvick. Got help from Kyle Busch in the 43 up into Elliott Sadler and got himself straight into the wall and nowhere for Kurt Busch to go.
Then nowhere for Jimmy Johnson behind him as well to go. Oh, Truex almost rams into the side of Jimmy Johnson. Very nearly a heavy collision there. Truex able to miss him, but very nearly another bad crash.
Believe they might have traded paint, actually. Get a slightly closer look. Goodness, they definitely did on that right rear of the 28, so Truex gets lucky. And we see tires going on this time under caution. 4 and fuel. Potentially might be 2 for some. We'll see what the move is for the race leaders. Biffle going to take 2. Same for Ryan Newman, who will take back the race lead and hold on to it, leaving pit lane. So, lap number 12 at the moment. We'll take you to intermission again. Another quick yellow. Ryan Newman still in the race lead here at Calder Park. Back from intermission here at Calder Park as we get set to roll once again. 2 cars out with engine troubles under that yellow flag. Villeneuve and the 10 of JJ Yaley both had engine problems under that caution flag, but 2 tires for Ryan Newman and Greg Biffle. They take first and second. Jason Leffler, Kyle Busch, and Carl Edwards also up positions on tire strategy. First car on 4 tires is going to be the 31 of Robbie Gordon, as he starts in the 8th position. Brian Vickers and Casey Atwood up some positions as well, but the 38 going to lead the field with green on lap number 15 this time by.
For Ryan Newman, it's just a nice confidence booster to be leading this race. It hasn't been the greatest start for him, especially what he would have considered having going to that 38 car, which won, I believe, 5 races last season. But we all know Ryan Newman is a very, very capable race car driver and someone who I believe is going to win a race this year at some point. It could be today, maybe, but there's still a lot of race to go. But I think there's a lot of people in this garage area who would be very happy to see Ryan Newman visit victory lane once again.
Off to the races on lap number 15 as Newman sits in the lead over fellow Ford Greg Biffle, top 5 under wraps, though underneath of the 19 of Edwards is Casey Atwood's number 30. Robbie Gordon on the 4 tire is going to try to move forwards. Racetrack stays clean that time by. See if we can get some green laps in now. Villeneuve's number 49 had that engine trouble trying to meet minimum speed, but is going to fail to do so by a pretty wide margin. A lot of damaged cars still, as Kevin Harvick's number 20 still in the race. Todd Bodine had some damage thanks to contact that he got, although I believe that was extra damage that he got after the green, as a matter of fact. Ooh, yes. Contact with him and Ambrose, so this is why the 13 was behind. This was Morgan Shepherd, who already involved in an accident earlier. Looks like he got cut down onto the apron by the 21 of John Andretti and ended up collecting the 77 of Bodine, so a rough break for Shepherd once again. Damage to the right side of his race car now. Bodine and Ambrose off the pace a bit thanks to their damage as well.
That's unfortunate for Morgan because he started this race in a very respectable 23rd place starting spot, but had that impact with the wall early in the race on the McGlynn incident, and now that, and unfortunately for Morgan Shepherd, doesn't look like he's going to get the result that he would have wanted with the qualifying pace that he had.
Newman still in the lead down the backstretch, approaching the start of lap number 20 this time. Kyle Busch in 4th, 5th place still belonging to Atwood, as he and his teammate Robbie Gordon are dueling for that 5th position. Saw Gordon almost got into the door of the 30 going into turn number 3 that time. Has the run on the outside. Gordon looking like those tires are playing to his advantage right now, as Edwards and Labonte might have just made contact couple more teammates battling for position. In fact, 3 of them, 18, 19, 81. This is all for the 7th position behind the 2 Childress drivers, as Labani trying to move past the 19 of Edwards.
Right behind them, a former Gibbs driver, Tony Stewart, trying to follow in their tire tracks as well. That's Truex. No, that's not Truex. That is Kyle Busch. Thought I saw the 28 there. But 31 going to fly on past Kyle Busch there with those 4 fresh tires. Going to have a little bit of clean racetrack here to try to reel in these leaders.
We'll talk about these Gibbs guys, 18, 81, and 19, all winners this season. Gibbs has been off to a flying start in the Gen 5. And the 81, of course, the winner last week, that was DJ Kennington. Or excuse me, the 19 doesn't have a win yet. But we do talk about Carl Edwards having some good runs this year, was very competitive at Milwaukee, has had a couple other good runs over the course of this season. And for Gibbs as a whole, have really looked revitalized going into this year. This team as a whole has just had a lot of pace underneath them. All of their cars have been competitive. Rough break for Harvick, who was off to a little bit of a slow start, but seemed like he had a pretty good car underneath him, and a lot of damage takes him out of the race, but the entirety of the rest of their stable once again in the top 10.
And led the way by DJ Kennington, the winner of the last race, who absolutely, for lack of better words, he curb stomped the field in Milwaukee. Just an absolute stellar showing, a masterclass at that racetrack. Now, this track is quite a bit different than Milwaukee, to say the least, but another good run today, and an 81 car. Just so much blistering speed out of this driver. We talk about his Busch season last year and how he went 5 in a row to end the season. That is a driver who is already as fast as anyone in this series, and when the car is underneath him, he is going to be very, very tough to beat down the stretch this season.
Absolutely, and we see Kennington, who in this week didn't really have a good start in qualifying, wasn't too terribly far up the field. I believe it was in the 20s that he started. Would have to correct me on that if I am wrong. But Kennington didn't really get the qualifying spot he wanted, trying to tune up the car for Sunday night on happy hour, and seems to have worked. Sitting in the 7th position ahead of all of the rest of his teammates, might be one of the faster cars amidst this pack right now, has been struggling to make up positions, but Calder always a challenge to pass at. So doing the best he can, has made up a couple positions here and there and trying to find the groove, and he has absolutely done that to start this race. P7 is nothing to scoff at. Meanwhile, up front, Robbie Gordon past the 16 of Greg Biffle. Those 4 tires are doing him wonders, and he has moved into the runner-up spot and is chasing down Ryan Newman for the race to lead.
At this point for the 31, it is not a matter of if he gets the lead, it's a matter of when. And it might be down here into turn 331, taking a look. Not quite close enough. But 31 going to keep it down on the bottom right on the bumper of Ryan Newman, basically pushing him down the front straightaway. At 31 with the fresh tires, looks like he's going to get the lead and drive away here momentarily.
Off of turn number 2, Newman still holding steadfast. We talk about it. If there's any driver in this series that can make his car as wide as he needs to hold this lead for as long as he can, it would be that 38. Newman not an easy man to pass. Robbie Gordon not a man who's going to give up trying. Sitting right behind as we continue to log laps. Newman still in the lead. Gordon unable to find a way to get the nose underneath that Ford Taurus in the front of this race. Down the backstretch now. Gordon a little bit faster, going to try it into turn 3 this time. He does get underneath. And through 3 and 4 this time. The tires are so unbelievably important here. And Robbie Gordon back to the race lead.
Robbie Gordon back to the race lead, and you can see the gap that he has already put on Ryan Newman, even within that half a lap or so. That 31 with the tire advantage. Well, obviously that car was fast even before that, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, but with the tire advantage, it only exasperates the fact that a 31 is a rocket fast yet again.
And we talk about Robbie Gordon, of all people, at this very racetrack, swept the 2 Australia races in the Cup Series last season. He knows how to get it done here and seems to have an affinity for this very racing facility, both the oval and the road course, and it was a commanding win on the road course last year. And once again, out front here, this team knows something about this racetrack.
They do, and We've seen him run strongly at Rockingham in the past as well. I think this is just a track type that Robbie Gordon likes. You can really attack it, and especially with the worn out surface, you can really attack this racetrack and run it exactly to his style. Robbie's a very aggressive race car driver, somebody who is going to give it all he can every lap. And at this racetrack, that is how you make speed. And 31 has more speed than anybody right now, as he has absolutely driven away.
Looking at the margin for the lead right now, it is 1.5 seconds to Ryan Newman. Him and the 16 of Biffle are both on 2 tires. Jason Leffler sits in 4th. I believe it was 2 tires for him. I'm going to actually head back and check that on pit road last caution. And again, I believe that would be the correct answer. And it is. Would like to check if there's anybody else on 4 tires. Would be the number 12, the number 88, number 57, 17, 42, 31, 4, 24, and quite a lot of drivers on 4 tires, but absolutely nobody has taken advantage of them like this 31. And Jimmy Johnson probably going to be taken out of this race due to minimum speed, although him and Truex not too terribly off pace. The 13 fairly off pace as well, but these guys aren't dangerously slow. Although Jimmy Johnson definitely down on power, so we will take the 48 car off of the racetrack, and Truex is going to be out of this race as well, running the same lap times as the 48. Rough break for those two. Marcos Ambrose is meeting minimum speed and will stay in the race, so says NASCAR. So Robbie Gordon, about a second down in his best times now, as we're just over 20 laps into this run, if I am not mistaken. Newman has pulled away from Biffle, who sits in 3rd. Stewart, the next car on 4 tires, but is a long, long way behind Robbie Gordon and the 31 team right now, but he sits in 5th and has begun to pick off the last few drivers who are not on 4 tires. I believe the 19 of Carl Edwards might be on 4 as well. That would be incorrect. 2 tires for Edwards, and I believe it's 2 for Kennington as well, given that he was further down the order before that caution period where he picked up a lot of positions. So currently first battle on the racetrack for 4th between Jason Leffler and Tony Stewart.
Leffler doing a good job of keeping his car right where he needs to not let the 42 get underneath him. But I think it's only going to be a matter of time with that tire advantage. Tony going to take a peek here in the middle of the corner, but Jason Leffler going to get the drive off. Big run for Jason Leffler here.
And we always talk about it, and this racetrack is another one of them. It's very similar to Rockingham, but this racetrack, another one of those tracks. It's been the story of the intermediates for the last couple of years, and this new car seems to have not changed that a whole lot. That the outside, you really get a lot of drive off. This racetrack especially, we talk about Calder. It's not the easiest racetrack to pass at. Of course you can. You can anywhere as a matter of fact, but that top really likes to work. We especially see it off at 2 when that corner gets so flat. You come off of the corner and the banking disappears from you really quick at this racetrack, a lot faster than it does at most other racing facilities. And especially off of 2, that's a big detriment. You see these guys, the top works a lot because you can really pinch the driver down on the bottom, and it really sort of helps you out. And Tony Stewart giving a bit of a bumper, a lot of a bumper to the back of the 16 to Greg Biffle, who gets sideways onto the apron. Everybody saves it. Jason Leffler to the back bumper of Tony Stewart. Stewart getting a little impatient with this 16, and he gets into the back of him again. Impatient.
Stewart getting really impatient. He knows that he has to go now with that tire advantage before it goes away, but very nearly ended the 16's race and consequentially his own.
Got past that 16 now after getting into him in back-to-back corners, wasting no time in moving into 3rd. Biffle probably not too pleased about getting ran into twice, thinking, man, what did I do to that 42 car?
Yeah, and I mean, for Greg, that's just got to be so frustrating. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. He's just putting the car where he needs to. He's just driving his own race, and the 42 just kind of just had enough of sitting behind and said, I'm going to move you out of the way.
So it is 4th place now for Biffle as Stewart looks to try and chase down Ryan Newman for the runner-up position. It is 5.5 seconds. That is a lot longer of a margin than it was last we checked. Robbie Gordon, by far, has the best car in this race right now and is almost leading by 6 seconds. Might very well be the next time we cross the stripe. That 31 is on rails and is looking like he is going to make it 3 Australia races in a row. Nobody has won a race in this country in the Cup Series other than that 31 car.
So far, there's still a lot that can happen in this race, but that 31, tire advantage or not, it doesn't matter. That is the fastest car on the racetrack, and that is the fastest car on the racetrack by a considerable margin.
Would be worth seeing what kind of lap times Tony Stewart puts down once he gets out of traffic here, still behind the 38. As battling for position back here, you see a couple other drivers who are on 4 tires that we mentioned earlier. Jeff Gordon's number 24, Matt Kenseth's number 17, Casey Kane's number 12, all pulling into shot. 88 of Dale Jr. also on 4 tires, so a lot of drivers who are on better stuff starting to make appearances as this run goes away and filters out. We see these drivers start to pull up front on the tires, those left sides being more and more important. Edwards, Leffler, all starting to drop backwards. You see Biffle's number 16, but this is right around the point where these guys are going to start to make pit stops. We see Kevin Harvick, one of the damaged race cars, making his pit stop early so he can get the rest of his car fixed. Kyle Busch in. Ashton Lewis Jr. in the 06 hits pit road. Lap car of Ambrose in front of the 31. And you'll see these drivers who are on 2 tires start to make their first pit stops of the night. None of the top 10 into pit road just yet. And the top 2 obviously still out on the racetrack right now. Gonna see Ambrose pit in front of Robbie Gordon. No rush for that 31. Still battling for position back here. You see these drivers on better tires getting bottled up behind the slower traffic. Biffle still falling backwards. Kennington in front of Gordon, in front of Kane, in front of Earnhardt Jr. It's a 4-car train for now what is P4. Jeff Gordon up to the back bumper of the 81. Going to give him a lot more slack. And we've seen from some others in this race. Again, not sure if Kennington was on 2 or 4. We do know the tires the rest of these guys behind him are on. McMurray, Ricky Hendrick, 77 of Bodine. Jason Leffler, the first taker in the top 10 to hit pit road right around the halfway mark in this race, lap 48, lap 49. I believe it was 48 coming to 49. That those guys hit pit road. Gordon's still on the racetrack. And Tony Stewart going to try to undercut the race leader. He brings it down pit road, as does third place Ryan Newman. Kennington, Gordon in, Kenseth in. Everybody else going to hit pit road now. Boyer stays on the racetrack, but Robbie Gordon with that wide margin going to try and take advantage of the better stuff later, and he hits pit road the next time by. Robbie Gordon to pit lane at halfway, lap number 51 this time for the race leader.
And he's just got to make sure to have a nice, smooth pit stop. That is a massive lead. You don't want to give it away in the pits because that 31 car is so good. You don't want to be caught on the back foot, but provided that everything goes well here, I mean, it should still be a very significant lead for the 31.
And we see these drivers beginning to rejoin the racetrack. Jeff Gordon getting away there in the 24 behind Kennington. Robbie Gordon getting the left sides on his race car now. As the last couple drivers trickle out of the pit lane. Robbie Gordon and Clint Boyer were the very last 2 cars on pit road. Boyer getting his service. And the 31 leaving the pits now. Stewart still nowhere in sight. He's battling with Jason Leffler at the moment. That is for net P2. Well over a straightaway behind the 31 of Robbie Gordon at the halfway mark in this race. Tire advantage is a race now for this 31 car, but it's not going to matter. It gained him a ton of time on the racetrack. And when Stewart crosses the line here in second place, that lead margin, 5.8 seconds for the Childress 31.
And we'll see if Stewart, with the clean air in front of him, Although we'll see if that remains. Jason Leffler with a very good run today, trying to take advantage and get into the second spot. For now, he's going to do that.
Earnhardt Jr. in the number 88 also back on form. Saw that he got suspended early in this season, but has been one of the fastest drivers on the racetrack when he has. And he moves into third, so Stewart drops to P4. That tire advantage for the 42. Now that it's gone, seeming like Leffler and a lot of these other guys are on equal playing field with him, and it's helping him out a lot. See Kyle Busch in the 43 with the shortcut pulls into the top 10. Jeff Gordon, a P8, P9 belongs to Ricky Hendrick, and Carl Edwards rounds out the top 10, with Scott Wimmer right behind him for that position.
But unfortunately for the rest of the field, the 31 is just absolutely gone. Those battles are essentially meaningless at the moment because the lead is so far out in front that you're really just fighting for second at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. It is just a moot point for some of these drivers, although you do want to be in the catbird seat if something were to go wrong. CGJ Kennington fighting with Earnhardt Jr. This is for fourth, as these two get side by side. Teammate of Earnhardt Jr. right behind. Stewart trying to retake second. And
I'll tell you what, go back to Kennington. He ran his fastest lap of the race last time by a blistering 24.8. One of the fastest laps of this race, if not the fastest lap of this race.
Is the fastest lap of the race. We see a lot of drivers are starting to clock their fastest laps, but Kennington's fastest lap was fastest in the race by over a tenth. Second fastest belongs to the 54. That'd be Jeremy Mayfield, who is a little bit further back in the field, sits 19th right now. Respectable run for that 54 car. And we see the class of the field start to make their presence apparent. And looking back at the margin, Robbie Gordon, thanks to the battle for second, is continuing to run away with the lead. It's over 6 seconds once again, and he's got no traffic at all to contend with right now. Sitting comfortably in the lead of this race, and barring a yellow flag or anything going wrong for him, has a clean shot to the end. But at a racetrack like this, and we've seen a lot of incidents at this racetrack before, it's anything but over. But of course, Robbie Gordon, if it were to be green to the end, has absolutely no challengers for that lead.
All it takes is one engine to go kapoof to turn this race upside down.
Still battling for top 5 spots here. It's Jason Leffler and Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well as Ryan Newman trying to move up a place into 5th. And he does exactly that. Takes a look at his teammate, and Jr. is going to have to give him the inside line going into turn 3. Very good run out of this 38, something we hadn't seen since the Bud Shootout, really. Obviously won the Bud Shootout to open up the season, but it has been a little bit of a rough start since then. Had a couple of rough runs, had some issues with his race car, but a very good run here in Calder, and this is the kind of racetrack you want to be running good at. And of course, having a good run cross seas is important. You want to be running well when it costs these teams so much to come here. And for Newman, really making his team proud by running so well. Yates as a whole off to a pretty good race here today. Truex, of course, out of the race. Unfortunate for him. Seemed like he had an all-right race car underneath him. Got into the top 20 before that early incident really took him out of the showing. But Newman and Jr. both in the top 5. We've seen team performances this season. We've seen a lot of those really over the course of the year, that a couple of teams have really, per race, you see a couple teams bring their entire organization to the top step and run with multiple cars in the top 5. We saw Gibbs had all of their cars in the top 10 last week out at Milwaukee, or at least 2 weeks ago would be the last week of action anyway. But we've seen teams bring strong performances. We've seen Yates have a couple times where their cars have been really quick all at once. And of course, Chip Ganassi have had a couple of races this season where they've had all of their team running up front. It's just been the story of team efforts this season, it seems like.
Yeah, and I mean, as a team owner, that's exactly what you want. You want all of your cars to be on level playing field and to have a chance of putting all of your cars in victory lane. And I think, you know, if you're Yates right now, obviously, it's not the start that you would have hoped for. But, keeping your head in the game, having a run like this, it's a confidence booster to everybody on that organization. The 28, a brand new driver in that car, Martin Truex, second-year driver. 38, veteran Ryan Newman, but going to a new team. Dale Jr. is really the only constant in that team, and he hasn't been there very long either. So really just a lot of new at Robert Yates Racing, and it might take a little bit to gel, but these are a lot of fast race car drivers, and I have no doubt that in the future, maybe even by the midway point of the season, we're going to see them pick it up, and we're going to see them start to enter victory lane.
Yeah, and absolutely. And for Yates, they've got a lot of loyal race car drivers, which I think is the number one thing when you look at that team. Newman really wanted to be a part of that organization. Martin Truex Jr. wanted to directly be teammates with Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Jr., obviously, when he joined this team, really wanted to be in that 88 car. And all these drivers have a lot of reason to stay with this team. They're very competitive. They fielded some of the best race cars over the last 5-6 years. Have a championship under their belt in recent memory, although not as recent now, but still Dale Jarrett, an ex-champion that had been a part of that team for a long time, is still somewhat involved with the organization and their operation, and overseeing Dale Earnhardt Jr. running races in that 88 car that he used to pilot. And as a whole, Yates, if you ask me, Yates has brought the best raw pace into this season. This team has been very, very competitive. It's been a bit of lightning in the bottle, obviously. They've had a lot of growing pains. We saw Junior get into an incident with Kane at Rockingham that has kind of derailed his season for the moment. But a driver strong enough to overcome a suspension, we've seen that before. We've seen Jimmy Johnson, at least before his second issues last season, was still right there in the crux of the championship after missing a race. So Junior definitely, and especially taking that suspension this early in the season, has a lot of time to recover from it. But this team is fast, but again, a lot of growing pains. They've got those two new drivers, Newman and Truex, who hadn't been with the organization before this year. Junior had only ran one season with them. That was last year. So they're fast. They've got a lot of time to figure it out, of course, and they've got competitive race cars, competitive drivers, loyal drivers. They've got stability, and they probably will for the next couple of years with these guys, and that is probably the most important factor of all when you talk about this team.
I'll tell you who's fast today. That 31 has absolutely left the field in the dust, especially with the fact that they're getting stuck behind traffic. This might be an 8 or 9 second lead at this point.
Taking 30 laps to go, we will give you an update on the lead for Robbie Gordon, who has just continued to run away, about to put Montoya's number 84 a lap down. And this margin, yes, you would be right. Margin to second place as they continue to battle for this position. Tony Stewart past DJ Kennington. 8.2 between him and the leader, Robbie Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, barring some sort of late yellow, some mechanical failure, for example, this 31 has it in the bag. I mean, that 31 is so far out front, he could probably just hit the brakes, stop, get back going, and still be leading this race. He has absolutely left the field in a different country. They are in New Zealand right now. The 31's in Australia, the rest of the field is in New Zealand.
An absolutely monumental race out of this 31 of Robbie Gordon. Again, we talk about a team having a stranglehold on a racetrack. This 31, Robbie Gordon, about 30 laps away from winning his third consecutive race at this facility. Technically two, of course. We talk about the road course being the outfield layout. There is a road course just out of the backstretch at this racetrack, and that's where we're going next week. And Gordon's going to try to make it 4 in a row. And, of course, at a road course, Robbie Gordon very competitive, so that's a place that he'll love to be running. Kennington back to second in front of the 42. Stewart, 8.7 now the margin. As we approach the final quarter of this race, it'll be 25 to go next time by for the 31 of Robbie Gordon. First battle on the racetrack is quite a long ways back right now. It's between Kyle Busch and Scott Wimmer, a couple of Dodges, plus Ricky Hendrick and Scott Riggs. This is for 10th and 9th. As Busch in the 43. His tires, of course, he was one of the drivers who pit earliest on the last run, starting to fall away from him a little bit. And Scott Wimmer trying to make an appearance in the top 10 now as he sits right behind the fellow Dodge. for this 9th position at the moment. And we talk a lot about these drivers, random drivers having some pretty pretty strong runs. Jason Leffler, obviously in the 00, fantastic run by him today. Has been in the top 5 for a lot of it. Now sits in 7th. A little bit of older tires for him has fallen off of this pack up in front, who have started to split up just a little bit, but nonetheless at 3 wide back there as Scott Riggs, the driver I was just about to talk about, going past the 5 and the 23. We saw 3 wide there going into turn 1. Get a look back at this. And it was Ricky Hendrick who got into the back of Scott Wimmer, and the 23 got pinned into the outside wall out of the corner thanks to Ricky Hendrick trying to pull off a bump and run. Characteristic out of Ricky Hendrick, always getting the elbows out, but ends up costing him a spot as Greg Biffle just moved past him for 11th. And pit stops are going to take place for what should be the final time here tonight.
And we'll see who's able to leapfrog who, but 31 really in no rush here. Just has to keep the car on the racetrack at this point in time.
Pit stops beginning to take place. Tony Stewart, the 3rd place driver, in. And DJ Kennington will stay out an additional lap, as does Ryan Newman's number 38, Robbie Gordon. Gonna bring it to pit road this time by. Be 21 laps to go for him when he takes the stripe this time. Kennington also going to come in from 2nd. Ryan Newman will stay on the racetrack to take the race lead. So Gordon, the race leader, down pit lane here. And he brings it to the pole-sitting pit box. Tony Stewart leaving the pits right next to him. And 4 tires and fuel going in on that 31. And just a little bit of a hold for the 51 of Eric Norris, but not really going to matter a whole lot for him. He is so far out in front. Cannot overstate just how big that gap is for that 31. He has absolutely dominated this race after retaking the lead from the early cautions, and he rejoins the racetrack a long way in front of everybody else who is even within a whisker's chance of contending with him. Kennington got leapfrogged by Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 2nd, as well as Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart, although might stay with this 24 here, and he does. So Kennington sits what should be net P4, if I am not mistaken. Ryan Newman rejoining the racetrack. We'll see if he knocks these guys down a position or two. His teammate Earnhardt Jr. is going to get around him on the outside. Stewart going into 3 will as well. Kennington's going to be the one that gets stuck up on the outside, but he clears. And is he going to get in front of that 38? He does. So Kennington stays 4th. 3rd belongs to Stewart. 2nd is going to be Earnhardt Jr. And Robbie Gordon should have the lead back this time. It was Clint Boyer, the number 4, once again going long. Did that the last couple stops. And Gordon, this time by, with 18 to go, back to the lead once again.
Back to the lead, and at this point, you start to taste it. You start to, okay, your final stop's over. Nothing's going to screw you on that front. Now you just hope to get to the end of the race. And since the early incidents, the race has been pretty clean. Hasn't been a whole lot of incidents since then. But all it takes is one engine to let go to really turn this race upside down. But that 31 clean and green for the moment, just trying to get back around here as fast as he can for the white flag. Still quite a ways to go for that.
Absolutely, and you see Robbie Gordon. This race so dominant that he just put the 27th place car that was at the time Brad Keselowski, the 27th place car. That now belongs to Matt Kenseth though, but nonetheless, that 27th place up to there, a lap down, only 26 cars on the lead lap. Could be less by the time this thing is over with how unbelievably quick that 31 is. He has Dale Earnhardt Jr. is number 88 behind him in second place by 8 seconds with 15 to go this time.
They did do something different with the tire strategy earlier in the race, but I don't think it really seems to matter in the grand scheme of things. You know, they got the 4 tires, they got the track position, but either way, this 31 has been lapping so much consistently faster than the rest of the field. You have to wonder, if they didn't do that strategy, maybe they wouldn't be so far up out in front. But you'd have to imagine they'd still be leading this race. I think the 31 is just that good today.
Absolutely. And for Robbie Gordon, it is worth thinking about how far out in front of Tony Stewart he was when he came in for his first pit stop. It was 5.3 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, between him and the 42, first and second. He has picked up an additional 3 since then, and that's contending with lap traffic as well. So it has just been a perfect race for Gordon, and all he has to do is bring this thing to the flag. He's got Elliott Sadler and John Andretti, drivers who have been competitive this race, up in front of him to lap 26th and 25th up in front to put -1. It has just been a clinic for this AT&T Chevrolet.
And if there was anybody doubting his status as a NASCAR champion, you cannot doubt this 31 after today. This is one of the strongest performances I have ever seen. And frankly, not one that I would have expected today. But my goodness, what an absolute masterclass from the 31 team.
All they got to do at this point is bring it to the house. 11 laps to go here at Calder Park, as this race continues to wind away, as Gordon, despite the fact that he's in traffic, still opening up this gap thanks to this huge battle for second place. It's Kennington in the 81 that just took it 3 wide, as Ambrose, the lap car, getting split by these guys. Jeff Gordon in the mix as well. Kevin Harvick, a lap car, obviously. Rough break for him, as he's been fast, even without a rear bumper cover on that 20 car. He's been with the drivers in the top 5 pretty much all night after getting lapped. So rough break for him, considering that he seems to have had a lot of speed. And again, we talk about Gibbs having another quick race. These guys have had a lot of fast race cars. The 19 and 18, have fallen off just a little bit, as Labonte still in the top 15, and Edwards in the top 10 as well. And another car worth mentioning, the Gibbs Prepped, at least partially Gibbs Prepped, 00, also in the top 10. So once again, we talk about these team performances. Gibbs bringing another quick race, although they're definitely not going to win it here tonight unless we get some pretty ridiculous things happening in these final 10 laps. Though Kennington, once again, another strong performance, going to be his second straight top 2 finish, as if he can hold off this 42 of Tony Stewart and the 38 of Ryan Newman for the runner-up spot. Inside 8 to go now for the race leader, Robbie Gordon, who has just really bided his time with all the lap traffic in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to really rush it at all. I mean, he's so far ahead that you just didn't line, not push your car too hard. Don't do anything stupid trying to race these guys. You have to put your car in the right spot. At this point, the gap is negligible.
Oh, goodness me! Clint Boyer, what a save!
Really sideways off of turn 2 there. Very nearly turned it around, but a fantastic save from that young driver. That was right in front of the leader.
Yeah, Gordon was right behind the 21 and 4 as they got into each other in turn 2 there. Get a replay of this with just 6 laps to go. I believe it was. No, it would be 7. But contact with him as he was getting forced up into the 8 of Jeff Burton, and by the 21 got backed up and almost spun it. What a piece of car control by him to hold on to that thing and stay in front of the guys that he was getting jacked up by. Stayed in front of the 21 of Andretti, who has fallen backwards thanks to the collision.
Had his arms crossed up there. He was so sideways. I mean, unbelievable save.
And from a rookie driver, nonetheless, just an unbelievable collection there. And even more impressive to keep it under control with the leader right up behind him. Managed to hold on to that thing and kept the race alive for Robbie Gordon, who probably wasn't enjoying seeing that out of his windshield with just less than 10 to go, and now 4 laps to go. Will be 3 at the line. I'll tell you what, Boyer, after making that save, has continued to move forwards. He moves past Jeff Burton, as Burton going to get lapped by his teammate here. 3 to go for Robbie Gordon.
And with a caution at this point, the 31 would still win the race, because the race would end under caution at this point. So just has to not blow the car up and not crash it to win this race.
Battle is for second here between Kennington and Newman. 81 trying to get past this lap car of Sprague. And he does get the nose underneath of the 78. Stewart still back there in the back of frame. 2 to go this time by. Newman really running it tight, trying to use all the racetrack he can, side by side with the lapper. And not really any other battles on the racetrack within the top 10. In fact, there is absolutely no battles on the racetrack within the top 10. It's just these two. This time by Robbie Gordon's number 31, taking the white flag, lapping his Alliance teammate, the number 4. White flag this time. Gordon leading by over 8 seconds. It has not been a thought for this lead since about lap 20 for the 31 car of Robbie Gordon, who is going to let his teammate finish it on the lead lap. But through 3 and 4 for the final time, Robbie Gordon, absolute clinic. 3 wins in a row in Australia for the 31. He wins it here tonight. An absolutely outstanding performance. And for second, DJ Kennington, his second straight top 2 finish. Finishes runner-up here tonight over Ryan Newman, who had a great run in 3rd. 4th goes to Tony Stewart. And Jeff Gordon, another strong run in the 24. He finishes in 5th. 6th place goes to Earnhardt Jr. 7th, Jason Leffler, a fabulous run by him here tonight. Kyle Busch in 8th. Carl Edwards, another strong run for the 19 team in 9th. And 10th belongs to Casey Kane. And that is your race.
31 pushed his chips to the middle of the table, said, "How bad do you want it? This is how bad I want it," and proceeded to absolutely stomp the rest of the field. It was a complete afterthought once he had gotten the lead. And if he had not backed it down there late in the traffic, very well, probably would have won by 10 seconds. But an unbelievable showing, an unheard of showing in this era of race car. An absolute clinic, masterclass from the 31 of Robbie Gordon.
So Robbie Gordon takes home his, I believe, second win of the season. I do believe he won at Homestead earlier in the year. I'm going to fact check that. That would be correct. So Robbie Gordon, the first repeat winner of 2007, as he wins his second of the year here tonight. An absolutely dominant performance. Again, we keep saying that, but there's a reason we keep saying it. He absolutely thrashed the rest of the field in an unbelievable, unstoppable performance here tonight, and he wins it for the second time in 2007. That'll do it here from Calder Park on the Oval. Next week, it'll be the road course for the Cashies 400K. On behalf of Nate joining me in the booth here tonight, I'm Caden Reif, and we will see you next time, and as always, have yourself a good one.